we'll jump straight into the topic at hand. We were going to go pick for pick, just give you a general feeling on what we feel today. I mean, considering we did, most of you know, we did some live reactions where we reacted live to I think 5 of the 8 picks that we made. I salute to you, look busy. I see you in the building. At the time we reacted, it was raw. A lot of these guys, admittedly, we didn't do our research on. You know what I mean? Like, we're Raider fans, diehard ones, but we don't have extensive knowledge when it comes to college football players. But now that we've been able to marinate the picks and go back and have a look and kind of do more extensive research, we can give you a better general feeling on how we feel about each pick. So in round 1, you know, it's no secret, we took Brock Bowers, tight end from Georgia, first round, 13th overall. I'll start off with you, Solo, because you were the one who was probably the most critical and copping the most heat in the comment section for the video we uploaded. So,
yes, I'm sure.
How do you feel now that the dust has settled and we've been able to kind of marinate on the pick?
I'm gonna be honest, man, because I'm always honest dude, man, no matter what.
Right.
I'm cool with the pick now. You know what I'm saying? But do I change my stance on what I feel? I feel like we still should have took a right tackle, mainly for Walker. But you know, Brock Bowers is gonna add to this offense, so I'm not tripping. Being that I watched some tape on him, because I really didn't know who he was like that. I heard about him, but never really seen anything on him. So looking at the film, I mean, this guy is hard to tackle, man. He's a tough guy. He's pretty much a Raider. Anything that you want in a Raider, wide receiver, tight end, whatever, he's that. And I'm feeling like they're going to utilize him in so many different ways that's going to help our team. So looking at it now, I'm cool with the pick, man. I still would like a right tackle with Jackson Powers Johnson, you know, to help this run game. And being that we have, let's just be real, we got mediocre quarterbacks. I think it would be better to have an offensive line to, you know, take the load off of those guys. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion, but I'm cool with the pick now.
For sure. I'll just read this comment out quickly. And like I said, salute to you, John Leon. Appreciate you stopping by. This is from Lecky. Every offseason I get my hopes up, but then when the season starts, knowing the Raiders, they give us fans a hard time. Well, hopefully it can be different this season. So let's see what this regime has in store for us. So far it's trended upwards, and that's all I ask. So what about you, Ont6? How you feeling about the Brock Bowers pick now that the dust has settled?
I mean, now that it's settled and I had time to think about it, you know what I mean? I'm not in shock no more, because literally when it happened, if you guys didn't see the live reaction, this was my reaction. For like 2 minutes, I didn't say anything because I was shocked. Especially after the draft last year when we traded up in the second round to get Michael Myers and stuff. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I told these guys when the pick happened, AP and Tom Telesco doesn't owe anything to the draft class at all. You know what I mean? These are none of their guys. This is their first actual draft class. And it's just a little shocking that they went Bowers when Fuaga went the next pick to the Saints. And imagine we would have got Powers and Fuaga, but at the end of the day, it just makes me think in the broader picture. If you're Tom Telesco and AP, and you have a Fuaga and Brock Bowers on the board, it just makes you think they're more comfortable with fucking I can't think what's our right tackle right now? Afakasi.
Mumford.
Can't think of his name right now. Yeah, they're Mumford. They're more comfortable at Mumford starting at right tackle than having Michael Mayer start at tight end. If you think about it, it comes down to that. So there's something must be going on that we don't know of. But at the end of the day, he was the second best offensive playmaker in this draft. And now I like the pick, but at the same time, I wish we would have took Fuaga the right tackle. But at the end of the day, in AP and Tom Telesco, we trust.
For sure. I do just want to build up on that for a moment. Just while I situate something. Solid? Do you want to build up on that, man? Solid?
So check this out. I did the I'm looking at Mumford's PFF grades, and he allowed 4 sacks last season. You know, the true area of need that we really needed was a quarterback, for sure. That everybody knows that. We know that we wanted Jaden Daniels. And that's probably why a lot of people flipped out, including me, because we really wanted a quarterback. I mean, since I've been a fan, I have never seen an elite quarterback in this organization ever. So, you know, we was all expecting the quarterback. So I felt, all right, all the quarterbacks are gone now. So I think we should address the right tackle position because Mumford is good, but at the same time, he's all right. We want elite players at every position that I feel we should have elite players at every position. So I don't know, man. I feel like we should have took a tackle, but looking at Bowers now, man, he's a dog, man, and that's what we want. We want dogs. We want people who are going to make it happen on this team, and we want people who are going to help us get wins. So I feel like Bowers is going to help us get wins. So I'm cool with it now.
And salute to you, SC and El Capitan, Rafucha. SC, if you want to just check your inbox for a second. And Circus, I think he's being sarcastic. Boo Bowers, Rattler, or Jordan Travis at 13 should have been the move. All right, well, I'm gonna shoot my take. So, look, I was like a lot of you guys. I hadn't done my extensive research on the tight end position, specifically in round one, being that I didn't think it was an area we'd attack round one specifically. We took Brock Bowers. I gave you my raw reaction, and I was, I was with it as long as it was that good of a guy to take at that area. Being that, like, we all believe like that tight end wasn't really an area in need. However, upon further review and looking at this guy is a stud. I mean, from the word has it, this guy is one of, if not the best tight end prospects in years. And to get a guy like that was ranged to go between possibly as high as 5, pick 5 to pick 7, have him slide down all the way to 13. This guy, I heard a lot of great things about this guy from people who watch a lot of college football, especially Georgia fans. This guy, just reading off the from the stats and all that, like, this guy's a 2-time John Mackey Award winner. So that's the best tight end in football, a 3-time All-SEC player, a unanimous All-American last year, first team All-American, as well as he was, as you know, a 2-time college football champion. But yeah, like, this guy has all the credentials, has all the stats, and is a playmaker of the highest caliber at the tight end position. This guy can do it all. I mean, watching some of his catches, and the thing I really like is the yards after the catch. I mean, this guy is able to not just bring in the ball, but also, like, make plays after the ball. Like, he was getting a lot of yards after, he would make the catch and making plays upfield. This guy was lining up all over the place at slot, even taking some snaps at H-back. And apparently, like, this guy's blocking is really good as well. Yeah. So this guy is a total package, and we may have found ourselves one of the great tight ends for years to come. Like, on paper, there's no reason why this shouldn't work out, and I'm hoping that is the case. So initially, I wasn't quite sure about this guy, but like I said, like, now that we've been able to marinate the pick and do some more research, I'm not just liking this pick, I'm loving this pick. And how many times have we asked for best player available in previous drafts, where we've drafted for need, not necessarily best player available, and it still hasn't worked out? You know what I'm saying? And I shared this story when I gave you my raw reaction, but I'll share it again now. I heard through this is shout out to Raider Damas. He's a writer for the Silver and Black Pride. I shared a live with him, and he shared this story to me. So a couple of years back, they were able to buy a book that was the scout team book from the 2010 Raiders draft. From the Raiders draft scouts, right? That was the year we drafted Rolando McClain.
Right.
Now that year, Tom Cable was our head coach, I believe. Al Davis was still alive. Rest in peace to the Godfather, and salute to you, Cheeto. I see you in the chat. That year, the scout team at that pick specifically their consensus guy that they wanted was Rob Gronkowski. Basically, they all said, get this guy, everyone else second, because he is a stud. And sure enough, look how that turned out. We bypassed that and went and drafted for need. Because at the time, we needed a linebacker because Kirk Morrison wasn't on our roster. Thomas Howard, rest in peace, wasn't on our roster anymore. So we had to rebuild our whole linebacker core, and we took, at the time, the best linebacker available. And look how that panned out. Rolando McClain flamed out to epic proportions. Rob Gronkowski went on to have a Hall of Fame career, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. So fast forward to now, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping it is the opposite. You know what I mean? Like we bypassed best player available. Like, you know, you're saying we wanted right tackle and there's other players maybe at corner that we were looking at. We didn't go for that. Tom Telesco, Antonio Pierce took the best player available, and apparently by a landslide. So there is that, you know what I mean? So I'm with it now that I've been able to marinate the pick, so to say. Any other thoughts on that, on Brock Bowers, guys?
Nothing really.
That's about it.
Cheeto. See you in the chat. I hope all is well. All right. Well, year one, what are your expectations for Bowers? Do you see him as a starter immediately, as a rotational guy, or I'm just asking question. It's probably not the. You guys know this isn't going to be the case, but a rotational guy. I'm going to ask this for every player. So a starter, rotational guy, or fighting for a roster spot.
I mean, me personally, I will say he's going to be starting over Michael Mayers. And then on top of that, I say he has a great chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
What say you, Solar?
For sure, bro. Like, he's a first rounder. So, you know, everybody who's usually drafted in the first round, we're expecting you to start immediately. And I'm pretty sure they already knew that was the plan. So it's all you know, what maybe Luke Getsy can get him in you know, Mayer to start together. Who knows? But because I'm pretty sure that's part of Luke Getsy's plan, the 2 tight end set. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a starter for sure.
For sure. Yeah, for me personally, it's day one starter. I don't see him needing time to get up to speed. Maybe, possibly, if we're going to start Mayer just initially, or unless Mayer's completely showing something in training camp that Bowers isn't. But like I see him being the day one starter. If we're going to utilize these dual Titan sets the way that people talk about that we're going to, not like yesteryears where we talked about it and we didn't actually utilize it. On paper, it makes the most sense. So I see him as a starter, getting good reps alongside Michael Mayer, or playing even alongside Michael Mayer in these said dual tight end sets.
Be honest, he was NFL ready his freshman year, so he was already NFL ready a long time ago. So man, yeah, he's gonna start and he's gonna be good, man.
Bowers be the starting QB, of course. Right. Circus plus tight ends are the safety blanket of the offense. We have mediocre QB, so having 2 dog tight ends will definitely help them with a safety net on offense if Tay or Jacoby aren't open. Absolutely. So
right.
Yeah, and I agree with that comment for sure. I mean, he's compared to Kittle, but I mean, Bowers is a monster in the red zone. Well, I'm going to try not to compare him to the tight ends who are already established. You know what I mean? Like, he still needs to prove it, but on paper, this is a guy who should pan out at the next level. I don't see why it shouldn't happen. But anyways, any other thoughts on Brock Bowers? Otherwise, we'll move quickly on to the next guy.
Nope.
Yeah, we're good, man.
All right. So round 2, pick 44, we selected center/guard from Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson. This is a pick that we were probably probably more happy about at the time we selected, being that it was an area of need, and this is an area we expected to go in the higher rounds with. So I'll start with you on 6. How do you feel about Jackson Powers Johnson?
I love this motherfucking pick. I was shocked he was on the board when he was there. Especially too, a lot of mock drafts had him going to the Packers or the Steelers in the first round, and to get the best center in the draft, arguably in the second round. I know he's going to play guard for us, but he has the ability to play center and guard. And his his junior year at Oregon, he played right guard, so he's played the position before, so it's not a big deal. But it's just crazy just thinking about seeing some scouting reports. It's just crazy to me that a couple of the scouting reports I've seen on the kid, the name that keep popping up by multiple scouts was Richie Incognito, just without the off the field concerns of his. And it's crazy to think of that. This kid is being compared to somebody that's when he was here was one of the best guards in the league. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I really think this guy is going to be starting off the line for the next 12 to 15 years, and then hopefully he stays a Raider for that long.
Solo, how do you feel? Talk to me.
Man, listen, this was my favorite pick. I'm going to be honest with you because, like I said, that offensive line was even though I feel like our offensive line wasn't trash, I feel like this was a cover your ass move by Tom Telesco. I feel like he did this as a cover your ass moment because he still needed to address that line. But man, I just love this pick. This guy is strong. He's fast. He can move. That's what we want, man. We got to have players like that on our team who can, can. I think they're gonna move him to right guard if I ain't mistaken. But man, this dude is just big. He's fast. Like I said, this was my favorite pick out of all the guys. So I feel like with him on our team, man, I feel like we got everything we need on that line now. Mumford, whoever else, man, Andre James, whoever's starting, we are good. Colt Miller, we are good. So, I still would like to have Fuaga on the side with him. So, that would have definitely gave us a lot more protection than a tight end. But I'm cool with it, man. Whatever it is. And he's a great pick. Tom Telesco did a great job with this guy.
For sure. And salute to you, Westside. Good to see you in the feed. I really like this pick. This is a guy who was the best center in college football. He won the award last season, I believe, the Remington Trophy. And it was a unanimous All-American. I think he had the highest graded pass protection in the draft from, I think I saw the stat somewhere. So that for me speaks volumes of the guy. We did have a need at interior, being that we do have Dylan Parham, and I guess Andre James is still slated to be the starter at center, but we could still use a guy on that other side. And I think there's no reason why this guy shouldn't be able to slide in and be able to contribute immediately.
Andre James is a starter for now. I feel like if he gets hurt, he might lose his job.
Right. And it's James's job until proven otherwise, or we got someone better in Jackson Powers Johnson who can slide in. Just gonna read this comment out here. Facts all lies. Plus, he has shown the ability to play center. So if James sucks again, we don't have to look too far for his replacement. Yeah. For sure. We've got him, and we got that guy from Chicago we signed, White Hair, I believe his name is. As well as Parham, who can slide in, but I prefer to leave Parham at where he's at guard. But taking Jackson Powers Johnson, the best player available on the board, a guy who was slated to go in round 1, and to get him where we got him, an area of need, and the guy has the credentials from college as well. I liked his draft reaction, when he was on the phone to AP telling him, "I'm going to whoop some ass for you, coach."
Yeah,
I love it. So I really love that pick. Westside, we drafted 3 guys that can play 3 or more positions. Absolutely. I know you're pretty high on the pick, and salute to Westside because he actually called the Brock Bowers pick before anybody I know of. So shout out to him. Many of us scoffed at the notion of taking a tight end, but he was the one who came out and said, we're going to take Brock Bowers early in the first round. And sure enough, we did. So salute to you.
Great.
And JB, salute to you. Same question with Jackson Powers Johnson. starter day one, rotational guy, or fighting for a roster spot?
I see him as a starter, man. I think any first and second rounder, I feel like we expect you to start immediately. You know, sometimes second round is not so much, but in this situation, yeah, we definitely gonna use him because he's too effective, man, and it'll be a shame not to start him. So I don't see anybody beating him out of his spot. So he's a starter for sure. For years to come, he's the starter.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm expecting him to be starter, and for years to come. I don't see it. Much like Bowers, I'll say about Jackson Powers Johnson. Like on paper, this guy should be the starter for years to come.
Right.
And like, who'd you say his player comparison was on Ont6? Richie Incognito.
Yeah, a couple of the scouting reports I've seen that was Richie Incognito, just with none of the off the field concerns, which is crazy to me because if it wasn't for none of the off the field stuff, you could consider Richie Incognito one of the best guards that ever played in the league. But that's a story for another day.
He's like was he a Raider fan growing up? Jackson Powers Johnson, split to egalitarian.
I'm not sure about that, but I know Brock Bowers' family was.
Yeah, they were mixed between Niners and Raider fans, weren't they?
I think they were 49er fans. Yeah.
But they're both guys from around the area, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, like to have two guys who are excited to be Raiders. I'm from the area, very happy, very pleased. I expect those two guys to be starting. Any other thoughts on Jackson Powers Johnson?
Love him, man. That's all I can say. I love this guy, man. I love his energy. I just love his talk, the way he talks. He's just motivated. That's the type of players we want in this locker room, man. We want players who want to be here and players that are excited to perform and give this team what they need. So I love guys like that, man. So I think he's going to do well.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I expect him day one starting and to do well at that position for years to come. Solidifying one of those interior spots, possibly taking over at center in time, but for now, he will be penciled in at right guard.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next pick, round 3, pick 77. We took Delmar Glaze from Maryland, a swing tackle. I'll start with you, Solo. What are your thoughts on the pick of Delmar Glaze?
I just watched some tape on him today. I was looking at him because he was playing left tackle. From what I was seeing in the film, and he's strong. I will say this: he's very strong. Like he handles business when he has to. But the problem is, I heard that he had 2 ACL injuries in high school. So, and he's a little slow. So I think one thing you can't improve in too much is speed. You can improve in your technique and things like that, but speed is something you can't really improve in. So I'm worried about him, and I felt like that was a reach. I felt like we needed a right tackle, but I think that was a guy we didn't have to get. But nevertheless, I think he's going to do what he's supposed to do for the most part because, like I said, he's very strong. But man, I'm gonna tell you something. Don't think he's a starter because the plays I saw, it was a lot of ends getting past him, and it was beating him a lot because he's so slow. So I don't really like this pick.
Okay. What about you, Ont6?
I mean, I agree with Solo. I mean, if you do watch the film this year, it does worry you. But the research I did show that when he went to the Senior Bowl, he was one of the best tackles there. That the first 2 days he struggled, but after he actually got some professional coaching from some of the best offensive lineman coaches in the world and shit, he ended the week by being one of the best right tackles there. You know what I mean? That he didn't let no sacks for the last, I think they were there for like a week and a half. I think the last 5 days he was there, he didn't let no sacks at all. He was one of the most improved offensive linemen. And the Raiders had a couple of their scouts there and saw it firsthand. So at the end of the day, I know it's a little bit of reach, but at the end of the day, he can play. He had 40 career starts, 20 at left tackle, and then 20 at right tackle, so he can play both positions and shit. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, in the Senior Bowl, they actually played him at right guard too. So just think about this: if we get rid of Andre James next year, we can just put Powers at center, move him to right guard, and just put Mumford at right tackle. So we will be all right on the offensive line next year. But at the end of the day, like Westside said, he can play multiple positions. So I know it was a little bit of reach, but what the scouts are saying, there's a lot of talent there, and I believe maybe by midseason he might be the starter, but he's gonna need some work, like Solo says, because there's a lot of bad film on him. But at the end of the day, I do trust the Raider scouts.
For sure, well said. That's good to know that he was very coachable at the Senior Bowl and that he was performing there. That's probably something that didn't go, would most definitely have gone unnoticed by Telesco and AP and the scouts that were there at the said Senior Bowl. I'm just going to read this comment here by Lecky and then by Circus. Cooper, BB, he would definitely solidify our O-line. He may not have speed, but he has pancake. Him or Fuaga would seal the deal for us. Okay. I'm not too sure about that Cooper BB guy. Glaze is a versatile lineman, strong, and I think he was one of the top graded pass or run blockers coming into the draft. He was ranked 6 and JPJ was ranked 1 or 2. So that was the pass protecting. I saw that stat. So Glaze was ranked at number 6, and salute to you. Cool, Kev. I see you in the building. I like the pick, being that like you can never have enough guys in the trenches, and it's good to see that it seems like the move is they're going to try and put whoever's our starting QB, whether it's Minshew or whether it's AOC, in the best position possible to succeed. Right. Being that we didn't take a quarterback in this year's draft. So I believe it's still Thayer Mumford's job at right tackle until proven otherwise. He's a guy I've already given my praises to on many occasions. As our young guy has only been trending upwards, that we drafted round 7 now 3 years ago. So this will be a third season. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility for him to take that third year leap and make that position his own, a position we've been struggling with for years. However, we do have another young guy, Delmar Glaze, who at the very least can slide in as a rotational guy as cover for now. He has played left tackle and right at the collegiate level. And yeah, like, you know, to have the 6th highest graded pass protection grade of all offensive linemen in the draft. So that is something. I'm sure there is some things that he needs to work on to be productive at the next level. But for now, we've got a guy who can slide in as what's his name? Thayer Mumford's role that he's had for the last couple of years, being that rotational guy. If Thayer Mumford is the dude at right tackle, I mean, they still got to battle it out. They still got to be sure of things come, you know, the first, you know, snap of the season, but we'll see. Delmar Glaze, a guy who's a rotational guy at the very least. Same question for Delmar Glaze. What say you guys? Day one starter, rotational guy, or fighting for a roster spot?
Go ahead, Solo.
Man, you know, I feel like he has potential to be in rotation, but I feel like he's going to be fighting for a roster spot. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's that bad, but at the same time, like I don't know, man. Like I said, just from what I've seen and from his history of injuries, one thing about me, I really hate when we draft a player that has previous injuries. I just do not like that, man. But because it seems to carry on to the NFL. So, but for as far as his talent, he has a chance to be in rotation, but I just think he would be fighting for a roster spot in the long run.
Did he have injuries concerns leading up to the draft? I didn't know that.
Well, he had 2 torn ACLs in high school.
Okay.
College, not nothing, but high school, yeah, that's just what I've seen, what I've heard. He had 2 torn ACLs in high school.
Okay. What say you, Ont6?
I think he's probably going to be a rotational guy. I think I've seen him making the team just because he got drafted. I don't think he's going to be a Lynn Bowden situation. Like, we just drafted him, and then he don't even make the team when we cut him and shit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of talent there to develop. You know, you're not the 6th graded best blocker in college football when there's fucking think about it, there's 300 something teams and shit. How many offensive tackles is there? You know what I mean? To rank the 6th best offensive pass blocker in the league, there's a lot of talent there. But you know what I mean? Just you know what I mean? Just all the film that we see that's out there is just him getting beat. But at the same time, like I said, with some little bit of coaching, yeah, I think he'll be possibly be starting mid-season or even then. But for now, I just see him being the backup.
For sure. No, I agree. I mean, gee, that would be very disappointing if he's fighting for a roster spot and he doesn't make it. I mean, anything can happen, of course. I mean, we've drafted guys in the 3rd round, and your point, Solo, they didn't even make it past preseason. But I don't see it from this guy. I mean, at the very least, I think the reasonable expectation is he's going to be a depth guy. I mean, you've got other young talent there, like that UDFA last year that a lot of people are high on. Dalton Wagner from Arkansas, I believe. I'm not sure who else we have at tackle, but yeah, I don't see it as a reasonable expectation to see him just being a rotational guy for now. And if he can fight to start later down the line and earn that job, we'll see. But I don't know if you could say he's a project guy, but a guy that will need development, and we'll see how it pans out for Delmar Glaze.
Right.
Before we move, I'll just read this comment out here. We signed Gallup from the Cowboys yesterday to a 1-year deal. What's his strengths looking like? Well, I saw that. I'll just touch up on that quickly. I did see we signed him yesterday. A guy who was productive at the slot receiver role for the Cowboys for a while. He is a veteran guy. We paid $3 million for a year, so this could be a sneaky good signing. And if it doesn't work out, $3 million is like what? Chip change for these guys, right?
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. What say you on Six?
I mean, it's actually a 1-year deal, $1 million up to $3 million with incentives and shit. So to be honest, you might not even make this team, but at the end of the day, it just gives us another offensive weapon. Just in case if Adam goes down for a game, you know what I mean, he can step in to be the number 2 receiver and shit, and they put Trey Tucker at number 3. But at the end of the day, the more talent we can put on this team, the better, because it's going to be a long season, and we know there's going to be injuries.
For sure. At the very least, like, he's going to have a chance to maybe regain some of that form he had with the Cowboys, and if he doesn't, it's not going to hurt us in the long run. But salute to you, Raider Bob. Good to see you in the feed. Hope all is well. All right, we'll move quickly back to the draft. We're now up to round 4. We picked what number was he? I think it was 142 or 172. Well, round 4, we picked cornerback from Mississippi State, Decam Richardson. I'll go with you on Six. What are your thoughts on Decam Richardson?
I mean, when I first heard the pick, I was like, who? But after doing some research and finding out that he was it was pick 112, but finding out that he was the most athletic cornerback in the whole draft, you know what I mean, when it came to athletic measurables, and that's real interesting. You know what I mean, taking a gamble that he can be a number 1 corner in the future with some coaching and stuff. I know we got him in the 4th round, but I see him being the sleeper pick of this class. I know a lot of people don't know who he is, but you know, with those God-given abilities and you know Patrick Graham and AP getting a hold of him, hopefully in a year or 2 he can start contributing to this team. But for now, I just see him being more of a dime cornerback if he does possibly I know he's gonna make the team, but if he does see the field.
For sure. I'll just read out this comment quickly by Circus. Richard gets a C from me. I know very little about him, except that he's tall and athletic. Well, that's like most of us. We had to go back and watch the tape. I'll share my thoughts before you, Solo. So I didn't know too much about him. I had to go and do my own research. And upon my research, I did watch some tape from Richardson. Specifically, I watched his tape playing against LSU. And I don't doubt that for me, this is probably what sold AP and co on possibly taking Richardson and then taking Richardson in the draft, because they were probably there scouting out Jaden Daniels and maybe even his wide receivers. So this is a game where they blew out Mississippi State. But there was one guy that wasn't getting beaten badly by the wide receivers and that. Only on one occasion he gave up a touchdown, but that was not due to lack of effort. Like the guy was very disruptive. The wide receiver he was covering just made a good catch. And that was Decam Richardson. I'll just take you off the screen. So Ont6 to situate yourself. So with Decam Richardson, like during the course of that game, this guy was flying all over the field, making tackles or at least getting himself in position or trying to hustle to make a play. And on one occasion, Jaden Daniels broke off on a scramble upfield, and he shook off the initial tackle, I believe was a linebacker. And Richardson was the next guy who was one-on-one with Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels put on a big hit onto Jaden Daniels, which I really like to see. I don't believe he missed any of his tackles during the course of that game, which is his MO, apparently. This guy was a tackle machine. I mean, in the last 2 seasons, he racked up, I think, over 150 tackles total. And salute to Twan, I see in the building. He's had a few pass deflections, no interceptions, but sometimes that doesn't tell the full story. So for me, he's given me like shades of Nate Hobbs in terms of like being a tackle machine, like a guy who's willing to put his nose in and lay the wood, so to say. The opposite of what you're going to get when we had Marcus Peters with us. This is a guy who's not afraid to tackle. Still a raw guy, an athletic guy, has good size and is that 4.3 speed, lengthy. So there's a lot of physical attributes to like with Decam Richardson. Can he be more than just a dime or nickel guy? We'll see. But during the course of his college career, like he was lining up, in the nickel, on the outside. So to have a guy who's capable of doing either role, fantastic. And this is a guy who can compete with the likes of maybe Jacorian Bennett. Jacorian Bennett's got some competition with the secondary players we drafted this year. There's a lot to like with Decam Richardson. He still has a lot to learn to be productive at the next level, but I like the pick so far. And salute to you, Spicy, for Life, our Raider story. And Twan, I see you in the building. Salute to you guys. Thank you for stopping by. Solo, how do you
feel? Mississippi State cornerback Decam Richardson, man. He's a tough guy. He hits. He got the size 6'2". He's fast. He ran a 4.3 at the combine. This is what you want. I think he's going to be a good player. Not sure if he's going to be great, but hell, I mean, you never know with some players. Nobody expected Max to be what he was. So right. He went the same round as Max too. I think 4th round. So listen, I think something special about this dude. I don't. They didn't throw the ball his way that much when he played, so that should tell you a lot. You don't see a lot of he didn't catch a lot of interceptions, like I said, but that's just because they didn't throw it his way a lot. So he's gonna be a guy that I can see in that rotation and making things happen. So I like him, man. They call him Decam, so just in case you want to go short for his name, it's Decam, man. So only thing I'm worried about, like I said, is off the field stuff, man. I seen his page and I'm like, oh shit, man. I don't know what he got going on off the field, but I just hope he stays focused and do what he can to stay on his team, man, because we don't need another Arnett. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's gonna be well put for this team, man. He's gonna be in a good place for us and he's gonna make things happen. He hits hard, he's fast, that's what you need. So we'll see what he can do, man. I like him.
Me too. Just to this comment here, you think Richardson is the Jacorian Bennett replacement? Richardson has a high motor from what I've heard, and we all remember the Bennett jogging incident. Yes, absolutely. I've touched up on that a few times, and I don't want to see that again from Jacorian Bennett. With 4.3 speed, there's no excuse for that. Anyways, outside of Nate Hobbs and Jack Jones, I think every spot on that cornerback position is up for grabs. Yep. I mean, Jacorian Bennett, look, he was only a rookie last year. Rookie mistakes. He has a chance to build up on that next season, but he's definitely got competition in terms of who's going to be that other outside starter guy or who's going to take over that dime now that we moved on from Amig Robertson. So we're looking for Amig Robertson's replacement, as well as someone who can solidify the other side. Whether it's Brandon Faison, whether it's Jacorian Bennett, or whether it's Decam Richardson, we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, I like the pick. And, yeah, look, to that point and to that comment, he does have a high motor, and he is definitely not afraid to put in a tackle,
right.
Which is something I want to see from Jacorian Bennett this season. I want to see him have better hustle than what he did last year if he's going to get beat. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Same question with Decam Richardson. Starter, rotation role, or fighting for a roster spot?
Yeah, he'll definitely be in rotation. I don't see him as a starter because of, you know, Jack Jones and Hobbs. But he'll definitely be in rotation. You know, one of those guys, somebody possibly get hurt, he can probably start then. But right now, he'll be a rotational guy. That's my opinion. I think so.
Ont6.
I agree with Solar. He's going to be a rotational guy, but I do expect him by the end of the year to start accumulating more playing time as long as he gets comfortable with the system.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be a role player, like maybe dime guy or slotting out nickel if Nate Hobbs needs a breather. If he earns that starting job on the outside, cool, fantastic. But yeah, a rotation guy to start with, and we'll see how his development unfolds for the next few years. But yeah, I'm happy with the Decam Richardson pick for now. But we'll see what the future has in store for him moving forward. All right. We'll move on to the next round. So round 5, pick 148 overall. We selected former Rose Bowl defensive MVP from 2 seasons back, and that is Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State, linebacker. I'll start with you, Solo. How you feel about this pick?
Now, I'm going to be honest, because like I said, I love being honest. I would have loved to have Spencer Rattler this round right here, man. He was right there and he was available. But, you know, we didn't get him. And I just feel like, no shade to Tommy, I just would have rather have Spencer Rattler. But Tommy Eichenberg, that's his name, Tommy Eichenberg.
Yes, I believe.
He's a you know, straight down the middle tackler. He's hard. He's a hard hitter. Pause. Man, listen. The only thing I'm worried about with him is making tackles in the open field. I think when it's like a, you know, straight on head on tackle, he can do those type of things. But when he's in the open field, that's what I'm worried about with him. But his resume speaks for itself. He's a great player, man. I think he's going to turn out to be good once he gets around Robert Spillane and those guys. I think he's going to figure it out, and I think he's going to be a great player in the long run. But like I said, my only concern is him making tackles in the open field. But as far as anything else, he's pretty good. I like him.
Just going to read this comment out here by We the People, and thank you for that insight, being that you're an Ohio State fan. He's an Ohio State fan, and Tommy is cool and all, but he can't shed blocks. Well, hopefully he doesn't have the do you remember Ben Heaney back in the day? That was his kind of, you know, that was his MO. Like, the guy had good sideline to sideline speed, can make the tackle when he gets there, but the problem was getting there. He couldn't shed blocks to save his life, and he just didn't pan out. So hopefully it's not a situation like him. As for Tommy Eichenberg, I mean, look, I've been screaming for the front office to take a linebacker who produced at the collegiate level at linebacker, who can play linebacker at the next level, rather than drafting guys who are secondary and trying to transition them over to linebacker. Granted, it worked. It seems to have worked out with Diablo, but, you know, I just wanted a true linebacker taken in the draft, and we took one with Tommy Eichenberg, playing in a power conference, Big Ten, with Ohio State, one of the biggest schools in the college scene. So a former Rose Bowl defensive MVP. I think he racked up like 17 tackles or something in that game. But yeah, look, I watched his tape too. I didn't notice the block shedding. I mean, he probably watched more game footage than I did. Yeah. We the People. But, you know, he does give me Robert Spillane vibes. And, you know, look how Robert Spillane's panned out for us. You know what I mean? So if we've got a guy who can turn out to be like that, or even close to that, then cool. We could always use that in rotation. I mean, our linebacker core is, Robert Spillane is a starter with Divine Diablo, and then you got Luke Masters and a whole bunch of other guys as a rotation. So we could definitely use more depth at that position, and to take one in round 5 from a power school, a guy like Tommy Eichenberg, who I do like what I see on tape, and has been productive at the collegiate level at linebacker. Who knew? Such a simple concept. I do like it. Another pick I really like. There's not really one pick during the course of the draft that I didn't, that I hated, so to say. But yeah, look, I'm pleased with it. But yeah, look, any other thoughts on Tommy Eichenberg? Have I asked you on 6?
Oh, you haven't, but at the end of the day, I like the pick. You know what I mean? I didn't know who he was, but I do remember now when we drafted him and they brought his highlights up of the Rose Bowl game when he had all those tackles, and he was a machine in that game. He's one of the memories I do recall from that game. But at the end of the day, we need a depth at linebacker behind the Diablo and Spillane and Masterson, and we have our fourth linebacker for the roster, I believe. And at the end of the day, this is a guy that AP knows the linebacker position and shit, and he was the first linebacker that we drafted. You know what I mean? So that's just you know what I mean. They must have really seen something they liked in this kid to draft this kid when he did, because if he would have came out last year, they said he would have been between the 2nd and 3rd round pick. But since he came back to Iowa State and had a couple of injuries this year, he was where he was at. But at the end of the day, I think it's great value for where you picked him at.
For sure. There was a QB with a lot of potential when we got Tommy, and I believe that's who you're talking about, Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Well, look, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you good. I'm just saying I really wanted Spencer Rattler that round, man. I really did, man.
You went alone in that. There was a lot of fans that wanted Spencer Rattler, but he ended up going the next pick to the Saints. Oh, well, whatever. He's not a Raider, so I don't care. But just on that, like, it seemed like the Raiders front office were sold on one or two of the guys in the first round to be the guy, and they tried to make a play for both of them. We all know who I'm talking about. It didn't work out, so they went with best player available. Then it seems to me they weren't willing to set on these other QBs that were available later rounds, so they didn't even bother. So I'm going to trust that assessment. But back to Tommy Eichenberg. Same question. Like, for me personally, I see him as a rotational guy who could possibly earn his way into the starting job down the line. As a linebacker to pair alongside Spillane or whoever else we might have there, Diablo if he's still around. But what say you guys?
Go ahead, Solo.
Yeah, he'll be a rotational guy. I think he'll be good enough just to stay in the rotation, keep his job, everything, man. I think he'll do well, man. I think because he got great leaders that's at his position. Spillane is a captain, so he got a captain at his position, so that's great for him. I think he'll develop and get better, and he'll be in rotation for sure.
And just back to this comment, if the DT does his job and creates a hole, he will hit the hole hard, but he ain't moving no one out of the way. Well, hopefully that's something that he can learn to do a little bit better. I mean, all these guys, they're going to have a chance to be able to work on their weaknesses now that they're in the professional league in the NFL. So, I mean, AP, like, remember, like, last season, myself was probably the loudest one in the room saying that the linebacker core is a glaring weakness until proven otherwise. And we saw what AP was able to do with our linebacker core, finally turning it into an area of strength. And with guys who weren't that highly touted, I mean, Spillane, Diablo, Masterson, like, that's not on paper. That wasn't really a list of guys who, was going to put the fear of God in the rest of the league, but they were actually able to do a pretty good job with all things considered. So I'm excited to see what AP can do with Tommy Eichenberg. But yeah, look, I agree. A rotational guy for now, maybe down the line, a starter. What say you, Ont6?
You already asked me about Eichenberg.
Oh, my bad. What did you say? Rotational guy?
Yeah.
All right.
I said
okay,
rotational
cool.
guy as well.
All right. Sorry, my bad. All right, well, we'll move on. We'll move on quick. In round 6, we took running back from New Hampshire, pick 208 overall. I see I've gotten his name wrong at the top right. I've listed him as Brock Bowers, but we know it's Dylan Laube. Is it Laube or Laube?
Laube.
Laube.
We gotta get this guy name right. He the one.
You like this pick? We'll start with you, Solo.
Man, me personally, my favorite, position on the field is running back. Dylan Laube, man, listen. If you watch this guy's film, he is crazy fast, dude. Crazy fast. Like, I think he had 200-yard returns on the special teams, and he had a return on the punt. Like, listen, I know he may not, be a starting running back in the long run, but he will be a great piece for this team, man. He's a speedster. He a little bit of he kind of reminds me. Don't get it twisted. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he kind of gives me that vibe. Like he's like a poor man's Christian McCaffrey. So I really like. He's my second favorite pick out of this whole draft, believe it or not. But I really like him second overall because I really feel like for what Luke Getsy is trying to do, I think he's going to be a great piece for this team. And on the special teams, he's going to help us out. So I like this guy. And his video was funny as hell when he first got drafted. I thought he was funny as hell.
Right. Raiders Nation, let's ride. Or something like that. Psych. Viva Las Vegas.
That dude is funny.
Well, Rachida, salute to you. Thought it was Laube. It is Laube, right? Laube. Dylan Laube. I'll go next. So, yeah, I had to look at some of his tape as well. Like the guy seems very productive as a out of the backfield kind of pass catching threat who can run the ball as well. Does have some return ability. Returner is still a position of flux at the moment. I mean, I'm hoping Trey Tucker can take over that role, but we've got another guy in Laube who can produce at kick returner, punt returner. I'm not too sure about his pass protection. Do you guys know much about it? Is he a good pass protector if he's going to be in that out of the backfield threat, or is that something he needs to work on?
That's probably from what I've never got any information on that, but I'm pretty sure he's a strong dude, man. So I don't think he'll be bad at that position doing that either. I'm pretty sure he can pass block.
For sure. Laube is probably my favorite late round pick. He's a great receiving back and kick returner. Plus, he dissed the donkey, so he already won me over. Yeah, I like that too. For sure. Well, look, there's going to be competition there in terms of like who's going to take over that third down situational running back role. I mean, Zamir White should be penciled in as a starter, but to the spellback, so to say, is a position that's going to be up for grabs. The likes of is going to be competing with the likes of Madison, Amir Abdullah. What's his name? Britton Brown, who's going to be coming back from injury, as well as the next coming of Bo Jackson, Sincere McCormick. But look, I hope that he can. Yeah, right on the shirt. I hope at the very least he can earn that job and earn his roster spot and be productive for us when his number is called. I mean, I don't see him starting for us, but a situational kind of a backfield threat, possibly a special teamer. Yeah, I like it. I mean, round 6. I mean, that's what all you're looking for at the very least is guys who can be good in rotation. Right. And I see that being the case with Dylan Laube. Being that spellback, situational back out of at the running back position is definitely up for grabs, and to have a young cat in there to be able to possibly earn that job that we drafted round 6. Cool, I'm with it. What about you, Ont6? How you feeling?
I mean, I did not know who the hell this kid was when he got and shit. I was shocked. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, after watching the film, doing some research, I really think this kid has a great chance to be our kick and punt returner starting day one. I you know what I mean? To see somebody with this size and quickness, I can think he just impact us in kick and punt return, especially now with that new kickoff rule and shit. It should be interesting. I think he be real good at kick and punt returner. But I really like the pick. You know what I mean? He's a little what the hell, Danny Woodhead type of running back. You know what I mean, Jalen Richard kind of type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come in and, you know, I mean, get a big catch. You know what I mean? Get to the rest of the yards. But at the end of the day, this was a good pick. You know what I mean? But he has a hard. I mean, I really think he's gonna beat up some of these running backs that are on the roster and make the team. But we'll see from now. But
for sure. All right. Same question, and I got to move quick because I got some things I got to situate. Dylan Laube, starter, rotational guy, or fighting for a roster spot? I'll answer first. I do like the pick, but I think he's going to be fighting for a roster spot. I think he will earn it and be that rotational guy. But I think that's with a lot of these later round picks, that's going to be what I see from them. But what say you guys?
I agree, man. As much as I love him, I think it's a lot of good competition in that running back room, and I think his speed alone is not going to be enough for him to get a starting role or be heavy in rotation. But you never know. Yeah, his size, he's 5'10", I think. It's just going to be hard for him to get in that rotation. But I feel like just by looking at his work and seeing his attitude, the way he takes the game and how he approaches it, I believe he will be in a rotation. But it is very capable. He will be capable of fighting for a roster spot. So I just hope he gets in rotation, man, because I really like him.
For sure. And just before you shoot on 6, I agree with this comment. Laube, please beat out Sincere. I'm tired of the hype around. Well, I'm tired too, but look, if Sincere somehow, some way can live up to even a fraction of his height, then cool. You know what I mean? Like whoever wins the job, I hope they win it and earn it because they earn it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. On 6, talk to me.
I see him fighting for the roster spot, but me personally, I see him making the roster. But we'll see with the depth and the other running money that we have at running backs that are ahead of him right now. But we'll see. If anything, I see him the worst, he's probably making the practice squad. But we'll see.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, well, we'll move on quick. John Leon, I think our UDFAs are going to show up. Well, I'll just touch up on that quickly because I didn't do too much research on the UDFAs. I think we signed 18 in total. We're not going to touch base on them. We're just going to touch base on the pick specifically. But I'm sure there's going to be one or two standouts in preseason that's going to catch our eye and fight for a roster spot, so to say. But we'll have to wait and see. There always is, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, round 7, we selected at 223 overall a guy from Air Force, a safety, Trey Taylor. The Jim Thorpe winner from last year. That's the best defensive back in football. If you're the best defensive back in college football, how do you slide that far down? I don't know. But anyways, on 6, so how do you feel about Trey Taylor?
I mean, shout out to my boy Trayvon Morgan, changing to number 7 this year, you know what I mean? He wore that word when he came out as well when we took him in the second round. But this kid has a lot of talent. I think he was there just because he didn't have a lot of the measurables. But at the end of the day, if you can play football, you can play football. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, Morig and Epps are 1-year deals and shit. And worst comes to worst, he's going to be our 3rd or 4th safety on the team going forward. But I really do like this pick. He can cover, he can hit hard. He didn't really have the measurables. So that's why he was there where he was at.
Okay, that's what's up. So look.
I agree, man. This dude, he tackles, he hits hard, he covers well. I like the way he looks, man. I think he's a very great player. Very great player, but what was it? I think he fell so far down because I felt like it was because of the fact that he was playing the Air Force and he didn't really play a lot of competition. And that's what I think it was. I could be wrong, but I'm glad we drafted him, man. He looks good, man, on the film. So we're going to see what he can do, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess, what is it, Mountain West, the division he played in, maybe that played a hand in him falling that far, being a Jim Thorpe winner, and maybe the measurables as well. But I really like this pick, a high character guy. I mean, you're not going to get low character guys coming out of Air Force or Navy or Army or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, these are guys who are gonna, not gonna cause any headaches at the next level and throughout life, you know what I mean? until proven otherwise. But I really like taking a flyer on a guy who was highly productive. I think he got 6 interceptions last year. A guy who can play in the box, a guy who can make plays on the ball. And to get him late, a Jim Thorpe winner, like I said, the best defensive back in college football. Coming out of Mountain West, like not really the most powerful conference, but being productive nevertheless, and a guy who can compete. I don't see him starting year one. I mean, we've got Marcus Epps and Trayvon Morig. Morig should be around for a little bit longer, and Marcus Epps, on one more year on his deal. We do have depth with Isaiah Polamau. But I see him fighting it out with Christopher Smith, the guy we drafted last year. We didn't see much of anything of from last year. So he's going to provide competition with Christopher Smith III to be that next rotational guy and fighting for a roster spot. But what say you, Ont6?
I see him making the roster. I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's probably going to end up being a third or fourth safety. You know what I mean? If worst comes to worst, he'd probably be on the practice squad. But at the end of the day, I think he is going to probably make the roster worse as a practice squad member.
Okay, and that's a good comment there. I didn't know that. AP Coach Taylor at 1.2. Probably another reason we selected him, since AP already knows his game. Well,
he did coach me Pee Wee.
Okay, well that's what's up. I didn't know that. That's probably another thing that played into the hand of us selecting him. And this comment here by Eli, salute to you. Everybody's sleeping on Glaze. He is one of the highest rated pass protectors. I saw that too. I think a rotational guy for now, if he can earn the starting job and play well at that position, then fantastic. But just for now, I see him as he needs a little bit more time to develop. And being a rotational guy to start off with is, I think, a reasonable expectation from him. Anything more, cool. But back to Taylor. What say you guys? Fighting for a roster spot or rotational guy. And salute to you, Prez. I see you in the building. I see him fighting for a roster spot with the likes of Polamau and Christopher Smith. If he doesn't make the roster, practice squad would be a reasonable place to stash him for now, just to see him hone his craft there. But if he can play much like he did in college, I mean, Jim Thorpe winner, and be productive in preseason, then, if he earns that rotational spot over the likes of Christopher Smith III or Polamau, then cool. What say you guys?
I completely agree with what you said. I see him probably making the roster, if not making the practice squad, but there's a lot of talent there that AP and Patrick Graham can work with.
So you, Solo?
Yeah, I think he'll be fighting for a roster spot. I really like him as a player, but like I said, Polamau really played very well last season when he got his opportunity. So Polamau got experience. He knows more right now. So you really got to fight hard to get that spot. So I see him fighting for that rotation. So hopefully he gets in rotation, but we will see.
For sure. Agreed. All right, well, we'll move on to the last pick, and then we'll wrap things up. So round 7, pick 229, I think, was our last pick from this year's NFL draft class. And that is cornerback, another defensive back from the University of Pittsburgh, and that's MJ Devonshire. I'll go first with MJ. Upon looking at his tape, the guy, I mean, he seems like another guy who's not afraid to tackle, does have some ball skills. I mean, he got himself a few interceptions, even taking them back to the crib. He has punt return capabilities. I think he took one back to the house at the collegiate level. So to get a guy who can contribute as possibly a dime nickel guy, as well as have return capabilities, I see this guy that they're looking for to try and find a replacement to Amik Robinson. He gives me Amik Robinson and TJ Carey kind of vibes. Remember TJ Carey, another guy we drafted in round 7? I think the same draft class we drafted Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, and Justin Ellis, Gabe Jackson. So, a guy who I think he's around that same height as, say, like Amik Robinson, maybe a little bit taller. He's 5'11", who can return. He's capable of being a punt returner, and has some ball skills. I like the pick. And being late, a guy is very capable of fighting for a roster spot and maybe earning the job that Amik Robertson had left behind, being that he's moved on to the Lions. Good luck to him. But yeah, another guy again. I like the pick. Going defensive back, the third one we took in this year's draft. But what say you guys?
Go ahead, Solo.
Didn't really watch a lot of tape on him, but from what I did see, yeah, he's pretty good. I think this is just a AP and an AP pick, and he just wanted the guy, that was a dog, and I believe that's the whole mantra with this team right now. AP and Patrick Graham want dogs, and I believe this is just another dog we add to the locker room. Don't sleep just because this is the last pick. I think he will actually play well or whenever he gets the opportunity. But from what I've seen, he's decent. Didn't watch, like I said, I can't say too much about him because I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him, being that he was our last pick. But I hope he does well, man.
For sure. Before I go on to your Ont6, just that comment from Circus. I hope you're saying that in jest because that's our guy, So I hope that's like I said, in jest. But anyways, Ont6, talk to me.
For me personally, I like this pick, and the other thing I noticed from Tom Telesco and AP in this draft, there's a certain corner they want their corners to be able to tackle and cover, aka not be Marcus Peters, not tackle at all. You know what I mean? Just make business decisions all the fucking time. So that's what I like about this cornerback as well. You know what I mean? He can cover. He's a good tackler. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's a certain kind of corner that Tom Telesco and AP want and Patrick Graham want on the defense that he's fits the mode. He might not be the flashiest, but at the end of the day, he has a good chance to be maybe the fifth or sixth corner to make this roster.
Yeah.
For sure. And shout out to Raider Resistance. I mean, he's got a lot of good content on the IG. So if you guys aren't following, I encourage you guys all to check his page out. I mean, he's even got himself a gig with the what's Max Crosby's podcast?
Yeah, The Rush. He's got great work, man. Shout out to Raider Resistance, man.
Yeah, shout out to Raider. So, yeah, that's what's up. I thought.
Yeah, and recently AP started following him on social media on the IG as well. So shout out to my boy for putting in work since day one. You know what I mean?
That's the grind, man. We love it. That's the grind.
Yeah, that's the grind. That's what we all aspire for, right? Take it to the next level. So salute to you, Raider Resistance. But what say you guys in regards to Devonshire? Did you just share your takes on Devonshire Ont6? I
did. Go ahead, guys.
Okay. Starter, rotational role, or fighting for a roster spot? I'll go first. As is the case, like I said, with all these later round picks, he's going to be fighting for a rotational spot or a spot on the roster. At the very least, stashed on the practice squad. But at best, I see this guy possibly filling the void that Amik Robertson left behind, and possibly even maybe be our punt returner. But we'll see. What say you guys?
That's what I was thinking. Like something like a special teams player. I think he'll be one of those guys and have to work his way up to get get in that rotation in the cornerback room. So I see him fighting for a roster spot, but I can very well see him on the special teams.
Ont6.
I agree. Well, I mean, just because he fits the system, like I said, I see him probably be in the fifth or sixth corner, or worse, be in the practice squad. But I do see him contributing to this defense because he is a good attacker and plays great in coverage. And most of all, he fits Patrick Graham's system to a T.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Wrapping up our thoughts now that we've been able to marinate the draft and do a little bit more extensive research. My final thoughts. I really like this draft class. This is probably the best I've felt since like 2014. I just hope that it turns out to be even close to the overall production we got from that year's draft class. At the very least, I see us having 2 day one starters and guys who are going to be able to contribute outside of the 2 guys, Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers Johnson. I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 guys there that should be heavy in rotation throughout the course of the next upcoming season. But as an overall collective feeling, I really like what they did. For the most part, they took best player available, and in Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, I trust. So to all the new rookies and even the UDFAs, welcome to the Raider Nation. I know you're going to do us proud, and I can't wait for next season to see what we have in store. What are your final thoughts, Solo?
Yeah, man. I think Tom Telesco and AP, they did a very good job with this draft. It's just the tight end pick at the first one. That's the only one I was like questionable about, but I still love it. You know what I'm saying? Because he is a great player. So the first day I was kind of pissed off about it, but now I'm cool with it, man. Because knowing that this offense was the bottom 5 last year, we couldn't score at all. Like I said, we lost a game 3-0. So if anything, we need more offensive weapons. So I'm cool with the pick now. But Tom Telesco and AP get a B+ for me, man. They did a great job with this draft. I believe we filled a lot of holes that we needed, pause if necessary. I think this was one of the best drafts I've seen in a long time. So I give them the credit that's due to them for this draft. We'll see how they translate on the NFL field, but I got high hopes with these guys.
Ont6, what are your closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap things up.
My closing thought is that at the end of the day, this is, like you said, the best draft that I felt in years, especially after. I mean, there's probably a questionable pick with Bowers, but besides that, I like every pick. There's a certain player that they went for in a certain mold, and they stuck to it through the whole draft, and you can totally tell. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I believe we got 8 great new Raiders that are going to be key parts of this team going forward. And that's all that matters to me. There's no really red flags with any of them off the field. You know what I mean? There are a couple of them were captains. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's no injury concerns really with any of them coming into the Raiders, unlike last year's draft class. And more importantly, I'm just really excited to see what they can do for us this upcoming season.
Well said. And I'll read out this comment before we close off. Realistically, B+, A-. My bias take is A+, because every pick at least made sense. Yeah, I agree. Every pick at least made sense. Yeah. I mean, initially the Brock Bowers pick may not have, to us who Raider faithful who weren't so educated on the guy, but now that we've been able to marinate and research the guy, then I believe it definitely made sense taking the best player available, which is refreshing in round 1. Taking a guy who's by a landslide, the best player available. But
and you know why it makes sense? Because we finally got an experienced GM in there. It's like somebody who finally has experience as a GM, who knows how to make picks. So, like I said, some of it's gonna seem weird to us because we're so used to shitty drafts, but this is what we need going forward. So, we finally got a real GM. We gonna make some moves, man.
I agree for sure. All right, gang. Well, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you for joining me again, Raider Solo and my guy, Ont6 Soldier. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys stopping by. That's it for now. It's going to be a bit of a minute till, I don't know, I might do some more live content. I mean, it's going to be a long period before, preseason OTAs and all that start. So we'll wait and see how things shake out. But until then, Afakasi Raider Solo, Ont6 Soldier, Raiders World Order, Raider Nation for life. Win, lose, or tie. You know what time it is. It's Raider Nation till we what, gang?
Nothing greater than a Raider, baby. Let's go.
Let's get out of here, man. And with that being said,
Raiders. Yes, sir.
Have a good one. Everybody, SC live, so everyone shoot over to SC Experiences Live. He's live right now, everyone. So shout out to my boy.
Everyone shoot on over there. And to end the sentence, it's Raider Nation for life. All right. Peace, brothers.
My bad.
All good. All right. Take care, gang. For sure.